आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. With the abundant blessings of our Periva, we have been going through the study of the Advaita Vedantic text, foundational text, one of the Prasthanatraya text, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We completed chapter 1, Arjuna Ushada Yoga. We have completed up to sloka number 10 of chapter 2, the Sankhya Yoga. I want to briefly recapitulate the introduction to what now we are going to see as given by Adi Shankara, which we saw in fair amount of detail yesterday. Only the basic concepts I want to touch upon now. What Shankara says is the basics of samsara, why we are coming back to samsara again and again, or shoka and moha, sorrow and delusion. Now, Arjuna has been in the grip of shoka and moha, obviously from his statements and from his actions. So Bhagavan, and he took refuge under Bhagavan's shelter as a guru. So Bhagavan took pity on him, and through him, through his nimitta, he wanted to teach Atma Vidya to every one of us. And Shankara asserts here that Atma Jnana is the only way to get out of this cycle of shoka and moha. Because even when you do karma, you are looking for the fruits and you are enjoying the doership. These two things are against the spirit of jnana. And once you are doing this, you will accumulate adharma in addition to dharma. This is a statement made clearly by Shankara. And once you have done that, your cycle of samsara will never cease. So the only remedy, proper remedy, is to go into pure jnana without karma, which a sannyasi can do. What is the scope for others? For others, you have to keep doing karma with a different approach, which he is going to explain, without looking for the fruit and without the sense of doership. Basics. These two are basics. If you keep doing that, your Chitta Shuddhi will keep improving. Your mind will become purer and purer, and you will become eligible to get jnana. So this much, if we understand, it is good enough for us to progress. So since Atma Jnana is the key to get out of samsara, to get out of shoka and moha, and since Bhagavan took it upon himself to teach us Atma Jnana, he starts with Atma Jnana. श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषते गतासो न गतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पंडिताः. He says, Ashochyane anvashochaha tvam. Those for whom you should not grieve, you are grieving. That is the meaning. Ashochan, those for whom you are not supposed to grieve. Shochan is those for whom you can grieve. Ashochan, those for whom you should not grieve. Tvam anvashochaha, for them you are now grieving. And okay, you are grieving on the one hand for those for whom you should not grieve. Secondly, you make another mistake. Prajnavadanscha bhashate. You are talking as if you know everything, as if you are conscious of everything, as if you are conscious of all dharmas. This is a ridiculing statement to bring him down to the level of normal human being. He was talking as if he is a Dharma Shastra expert. So he says, Prajnavadanscha bhashate. As if you know everything, you are talking. So here Shankara beautifully says, Maudhyam Pandityancha Viruddham Atmani Darshayasi Unmattaha Iva. This is his explanation. Maudhyam is confusion. foolishness and confusion. Pandityam is scholarship. So, viruddham, these are two opposite things. One is foolishness. The scholar will not show foolishness. The scholar will not show confusion. You are showing both. Viruddham Atmani Darshayasi. You are exhibiting both of this in your expressions. Unmattaha iva, like a man who is intoxicated, like a madman you are talking. This is the meaning of Prajnavadansha Bhashate, as given by Shankara. गतासून अगतासूंश्च न अनुशोचन्ति पंडिताः पंडिताः those who are scholars na anushochanti, they do not grieve for gata asu. Asu is prana, one who has lost prana, those who have lost their prana, those who are dead. Agata asunshya, those who are not dead, those who are living. For those who are dead, for those who are living, Panditas will not grieve. So he makes a very straightforward statement to hit Arjuna on the Arjuna's argument on the head. Now, those Gatasun we understand. Those who are dead, grieving for those who are dead is common among us. Agatasun, why he is adding? Because that is the basis of samsara. Samsara is full of grief. So Atma Jnana should take you out of that grief. Your grief is twofold. One is for those who have died. Another is those who are living. For those who are living, also you are grieving all the time when they are overcome with some misery, some illness, etc., etc. Life is full of illness, misery, etc., which happens suddenly, all of a sudden. Array, till yesterday he was fine. My brother, he was fine. Today he is bedridden. What is this? You are grieving for him. That is Agata. Pandita will not do this. Now, who is Pandita? Pandita is not just an ordinary scholar who has read so many books. That we should understand. Yes, that is a normal meaning. But here, since he says, Panditas will not grieve for those who are dead, for those who are living. So he is not talking about ordinary Pandita. It is obvious. So who are those special Panditas? Panda Atma Vishaya Buddhihi Yesham Tehi Panditaha. Very clear expression given by Shankara. Shankara is very curt and to the point in all his bhashya. Similarly, in his legal arguments against his opponents, he is very aggressive and very clear cut. So here he says, Panda Atma Vishaya Buddhi. What is Panda? One who has Panda is Pandita. What is Panda? Atma Vishaya Buddhi. One who has knowledge of Atma. Well, just knowledge is not good enough. Some experience also is required. That is implied in that. Just bookish knowledge is not what we are talking about. At least some experience. You may not have become a full-fledged jnani, but at least you should have some basic experience of Atma. So, Atma Vishaya Buddhi Panda, Yesham Tehi Panditaha. And he is quoting from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in this context. He quotes extensively from Upanishads, from Mahabharata and other Puranas in his Bhashya, extensively. So here he is quoting from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. He says, Brahmanaha Pandityam Nirvidya Balyena Tishthasete. Brahmanaha means one who is a jnani, one who is after Brahma Jnana, not the one who is born as a Brahmana. We are not talking about that. We are talking about him. One who is after Brahma Jnana, Pandityam Nirvidya, he has to leave aside his scholarship. He has to leave aside his scholarship. He may be a scholar, but he should not think that he is a scholar. That is the point. Pandityam Nirvidya, Balyena Tishtha, like a child. Child does not know what child knows, isn't it? Child does not think, I know this, I know that. Child is innocent. Like that you should become. Then only you are eligible for this Atma Vidya. So right at the beginning, he is giving us what is Atma Vidya, who is eligible for Atma Vidya, who has understood Atma Vidya, right at the beginning. That is the very first sentence. And here, as our Periva has asked me to explain Subhashitas as well as Niti Shatakam simultaneously, I have taken up one Subhashita along with the shloka. यथा काष्ठं च हमेयातां महोदधौ समेत्य च व्यपेयेतां तद्वद्भूतसमागमः. This beautiful example is given in many Puranas, including Adhyatma Ramayana, including Valmiki Ramayana. यथा काष्ठं च समेयातां महोदधौ. In a big ocean, there are pieces of wood. One piece of wood, another piece of wood. You logs of wood. You float logs of wood. That used to be the trend in olden days for sending logs of wood from one place to another. Through the ocean, you send them, they will pick up in the other end. So, when you float these logs of wood, some of them go together. Yatha kaashtam cha, some of them go to sameyatam, some of them go together. Sametya cha vipeyatam. After some time, after traveling some distance, they get separated. Tadvadbhuta samagamaha. That is how you should look upon joining and getting separated from living beings, bhuta, not just relatives. Tadvadbhuta samagamaha. All living beings, you should not develop any attachment. Just as the kastha has not developed any attachment to the other kastha. So that is Atma Vidya. That is what Gatasun, Agatasun. अशोच्यानन्वशोचस्त्वं प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषते गतासो न गतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः न त्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः तथैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्. Go back to the previous page. नत्वेवाहं जातु नासं न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयम् अतः परम्. Very, very deep statement. It will be a little difficult to understand this, but once you understand it becomes very simple. There are a lot of double negative statements. To emphasize something, you use double negative. That is what Bhagavan is doing here. Natvevaham jatu nasam. There was no time at which I was not present, I was not existent. That means I was always existent. I means Bhagavan. I means Paramatma. You should understand whenever he uses the term I, he means not the body of Krishna, in which body he is now talking. No. He is meaning Paramatma. Paramatma has taken the Swarupa of Krishna, which is a temporary one. So we are not talking about that. We are talking about the Nirguna Paramatma, Nirakara Paramatma, who has taken some shape today. Then only this statement will apply, isn't it? If he says, as Krishna, I was not present, everybody knows when he was born. So this statement does not belong only to Krishna Avatara. It belongs to Paramatma. He says there was at no time I was not present. Similarly, not one. Similarly, there was no time when you were not present. Understand this. There was no time when I was not present. There was no time when you were not present. What is common between you and me? Paramatma. Paramatma took your shape and you are born. Paramatma took my shape, I am born. Na ime janadhipaha. This does not apply to only you and me, it applies to all these rulers who are opposite us. Ime janadhipaha. Those rulers who are arrayed against us on the opposite side, they are also not new. There was no time when they were not there. Okay, we are talking about the past. What will be the future? Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha. All of us will remain in future also. Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha. There will be no time when we will not be present. Double negative. Sarve vayam. This applies to all of us. Nachaiva na bhavishyamaha. This applies to whom? Sarve vayam. There's no need to single out this person, that person. All living beings, all of us. Ataparam. Ataparam means Adi Shankara explains it nicely. What is Ataparam? Ataparam means hereafter. That is the direct meaning. Tasmat deha vinashat uttarakale api. Even after this body drops, even after this body drops, there will be no time when we will not be present. There was no time when I was not present. There was no time when you were not present. There was no time when these rulers were not present. There will be no time when we will not be present. absent. So this is the crux of Atma. Atma is eternal, Nitya Vastu. So here he is explaining by using an example, Acharya Shankara. अतीतेषु देहोत्पत्ति विनाशेषु घटादिषु वियद्यव नित्यः एव अहम् आसम्. This Atma is Nitya, eternal. Atiteshu dehotpatti vinasheshu. Even when bodies are born, bodies die, it makes no difference. It is always present. What is the example? Ghatadishu vyagyeva. This is a standard example in Vedanta. Ghata, that is the pot. Now pot gets broken. What happens? The space inside the pot, does it get broken? So Vyat means space. Space inside the pot, Ghatakasha and Mahakasha. This is the standard example given in Vedanta. Ghatakasha is the space inside the pot. Mahakasha is the space outside, the large space, all pervading space. So the small space joins the larger space, isn't it? It doesn't get destroyed. Similarly, this Atma never gets destroyed. It ultimately, when it gets moksha, it joins the Paramatma. Till then it thinks that is inside the Gata. Just as there is no difference in space, the quality of space, which is inside the pot and outside the pot. Is there any difference? There is no difference. Space is space. But this Gata thinks, unfortunately, this Jivatma thinks, I am a restricted fellow, I know only this much, etc., etc. So that ignorance is what is being talked about. That is what he is now referring to indirectly in this, according to Shankara. Now, why he is using plural? Sarve vayam ataf param. Now, when he says all of, now Shankara is explaining that. Why he is using plural? When we are talking about one Paramatma, he should use singular, isn't it? Sarve vayam ataf param. Why he is saying sarve vayam? Why he is using plural? He is saying Vehe bhavadanuvritya bahuvachanam. Because we are seeing bodies in front of us, we are tending to use plural. Na Atma Bheda Abhiprayena, he is making it very clear. Not with a view to saying that Atma is different between among various people. No. Atma Bheda, no, doesn't exist. So he is making it absolutely clear why this is the type of commentary he is giving. Natvevaham jatu nasam, natvam neme janadhipaha, nataiva na bhavishyamaha, sarve vayamata param. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते. Now he is giving an example of how to understand this concept which was made in the previous sloka. For understanding the concept, he is giving an example. The example is अस्मिन् देहे यथा देहिनः कौमारं यौवनं जरा. Asmin dehe, in this body, yatha, like for dehinaha, for the Atma which is residing in the deha. Nobody can dispute that Atma is residing in the body. Can anybody dispute? Without Atma being present, can we talk? Can we do any of our actions? Because once the Atma leaves, the person is dead. We are seeing that in front of us. So nobody can deny that. So for he is called Dehi. Deham is body, Dehi is the Atma. That is, he is using this term constantly. Bhagavan is using this. So he says Dehinaha, for the Atma in the body, just as Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara, various changes take place in the body. He is a child, then he becomes a youth, then he becomes old. 3 stages. We are all seeing. In fact, there are 6 stages in Shastra. Now he is quoting 3 of them. Childhood, youth, and old age. Can anybody deny the body undergoes these changes? Nobody can deny. Can anybody deny that it is the same person who was a child, same person who is now a youth, same person who is old? I was a different person. Can anybody say that? No. Everyone knows that he is the same person. Even if he sees the old photos, he does not recognize. So much of change has taken place in the body. But will anybody say he is a different person? Does he not remember all the old things? He remembers. He continues. as the same person. Why? Because of the Dehi, because of the Atma. Similarly, just as this Deha undergoes changes, Tatha, this was an example. Tatha Dehantara Praptihi. Similar is the getting of another body. Just as from childhood to youth, youth to old age, change took place, you did not bother. Similarly, you don't bother about when you go into another body. It is exactly same. Tatha. There is no difference between that and this. When body undergoes changes, you are not worried because you know it is natural. Everyone has, your father, your parents, everybody around you has undergone that. So you are used to that. Similarly, you get used to this also because there is a limited life on earth. So another body getting another body is natural, just as the other one was natural. That does not mean that Atma is changing. Tatha dehantara prapti. Dhiraha tatra na mukhyate. A dhira will not get deluded by this getting into another body situation. If you don't get deluded, then why are you grieving? These people are going to get into another body. Arre, what is there to grieve? That is the question he is asking. Because he was grieving for Bhishma, Drona and other people dying, isn't it? So he is going to explain later on that he is not the cause of their death. Their death is already predetermined. Everyone's death is predetermined. When everyone is born, their date of death, their time of death is written on their forehead by Brahma. So that is already there. So how can you arrogate to yourself that you are the cause of their death? That is the question. Dhiraha tatra namushyate. Dhiraha means two things in Sanskritam. One is one who is courageous. Another is one who is intelligent. Dhi means buddhi, buddhiman. So here buddhiman we should understand. A buddhiman, an intelligent person, does not get deluded by this phenomenon which is natural, like the other phenomenon which is kaumaram, yauvanam and jara. Dehantara prapti avikriyasya eva atmanaha. This is the explanation given by Shankara. Avikriyasya means unchanging. Atma is unchanging. Dehantara prapti is like that kaumaram yauvanam jara. There is no change for the Atma. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो अनित्याः तांस्तितिक्षस्व भारत. Now the question comes, okay, that I have understood. But during a person's life, Sukha and Dukkha are constant. Nobody denies that, isn't it? Life on earth is full of Sukha and Dukkha, pleasure and pain. It is only in Devaloka you will get only pleasure, no pain. But here it is mixture of both. That is written on the head of every human being. So similarly, Shita and Ushna, cold and heat. Can anybody say, I have never experienced cold? Can anybody say, I have never experienced heat? They are common. They are there. So, when Shita, Ushna, Sukha, and Dukkha, when these things affect you, He Kaunteya, son of Kunti, He Arjuna, Matra Sparshastu, they are affecting you because of contact with sense organs. Matra is sense organs. Sparsha is contact. Because Shita, Ushna, Sukha and Dukkha are in contact with your sense organs, you feel some problem, isn't it? If you switch off your sense organs, you don't feel Shita, Ushna, Sukha and Dukkha. Because of contact with sense organs, they affect you. Shita, Ushna, Sukha and Dukkha. So Sukha and Dukkha are connected with sense organs. How do you get Sukha and Dukkha? By using the sense organ only, that we must understand. By seeing something, we get pleasure. By hearing something, we get pleasure. By hearing somebody is dead, we get dukkha, isn't it? So hearing, seeing, experiencing smell, smelling, tasting, touching, these five sense organs are the cause of all our external knowledge. And external knowledge is what is giving you sukha and dukkha. Nobody can say that Internally, I am getting Sukha and Dukha. Nobody can say that. So, because of external reasons, you are getting Sukha and Dukha, Shita and Ushna. Now he is advising how to handle that. Agamapayeno anityaha tanstitikshasva bharata. There is no escape from them. You have to tolerate them. Titiksha means tolerance. How can you escape Shita, Ushna? How can you escape Sukha and Dukha? You cannot escape. That is part of life. Titikshasva, bear with them. Why I should bear with them? He is giving the reason. Agama payinaha. They are coming and going. Agama payinaha. They are in the nature of coming and going. They are not going to remain with you constantly. Is any Sukha or any Dukha remaining constantly with you? Any Shita, any Ushna remaining constantly with you? No. Anityaha. They are not eternal. They are not constant. Hence, tolerate them. So if you say, Array, I'm going to see Bhishma die in front of me, how can I say I am not grieved? Yes, you will be grieved, but tolerate it. That is part of life. Now, what is Titiksha is beautifully defined in Viveka Chudamani by Shankara. He says, what is Titiksha? In fact, he is explaining every one of those various stages of Jnana Marga. Like starting with Viveka and Vairagya, Samadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, then you go to Mumukshatva. These are the stages of Jnana Marga. There in the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, one of the Sampattis is Titiksha. That is being defined because since Titiksha has come here, let us understand that. Sahanam Sarvadukhanam Apratikara Purvakam Chinta Vilapa Rahitam Sa Titiksha Nigadyate. That is called Titiksha. What? Whenever any Dukha comes, Sukha he is not talking about because Sukha you are not going to complain, isn't it? Sukha you welcome. So he is not talking about that. So, whenever any dukkha comes, apratikara purvakam, without any resistance by way of chinta vilapa rahitam, getting worried about it, vilapa, wailing about it, this has happened to me, this has not happened to him, I am always the victim, this kind of vilapa, this kind of wailing, this kind of worry. Worry, wailing, etc. is part of resistance. So he says, apratekara purvakam. That is called titiksha. Now he is teaching that you should do that. Agama coming, apayanaha going away. They are the nature of this. Now, why he is singling out Shita, Ushna, Sukha and Dukha? Even for that, Shankara is giving me an explanation. Shita and Ushna are changing experiences. That is, look at the subtlety with which Shankara explains. Shita and Ushna are changing experiences. That means a Shita which you liked yesterday, you will not like today. Because sometimes we need Shita. When you are exposed to sun, you need Shita, you go into air conditioner. When in severe winter, you don't need air conditioner. So same Shita is good sometimes, same Shita is bad sometimes. Same Ushna is good sometimes, same Ushna is bad sometimes. Not so with Sukha and Dukha. Sukha is never bad, Dukha is never good, isn't it? Can anybody say, I didn't like that Sukha, I liked that Dukha? Nobody will say that. Whereas Shita and Ushna are changing, Sukha and Dukha are not changing. That is why he is pairing them. So sometimes you will go through this, sometimes you will go through that. Even then, you have to tolerate it. Then, why I should tolerate? Shankara is explaining. Sukha viyoga nimittaha mohaha dukkha samyoga nimittacha shokaha. Because he is always connecting everything with shoka and moha. You must understand that. Because that is the basic of our samsara. Shoka and moha. Grieving and getting confused. Now, whenever dukkha comes, you feel grieved, you feel miserable. So that is misery. Shoka is misery. Dukkha samyoga nimittaha. What is moha? Sukha viyoga nimittaha. Whenever you get sukha, you are worried that it will leave you. Look at that. Look at this psychology. Sukha viyoga nimittaha. That whenever you get any sukha, you get a promotion in office. What is the guarantee that that promotion will continue? What is the guarantee that they will not lay you off after 2 days? There's no guarantee. Nobody has given a guarantee. So you are worried about that. Sukha viyoga nimittaha mohaha. That is confusion. That is delusion. So the shoka moha is the basic. So you should not worry about sukha and dukha. If you want to avoid shoka and moha, this is the basics. मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः आगमापायिनो अनित्याः तांस्तितिक्षस्व भारत यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःखसुखं धीरं सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते. He is addressing Arjuna as Purusharshava, Purusha Rishabha, bull among Purushas. Correct? He said Parantapa earlier. No, you are a great man. You are not an ordinary man. He is motivating him, encouraging him to understand this Atma Vidya and to get into that spirit. Yam hina vyathayanti ete. Ete means this earlier mentioned experiences, that is Sukha, Dukha, Cheta, and Ushna. Those, I mean, him for whom these do not give any trouble, vyathayanti, do not produce any vyatha, any misery. That person for whom these experiences do not produce any misery, Yam Purusham, that Purusha, he is deemed as Amritatvaya Kalpate. He is ready for immortality. He is ready for moksha. Look at that. From here we have gone right up to moksha, because that is the first step. Saha Amritatvaya Kalpate, he says. He is not saying he will attain Amritattva. He is very careful in his expression. He is fit for Amritattva. He is on the right path. Immortality. Why? Samadukha Sukham Dhiram. He is able to treat Sukha and Dukha, pleasure and pain equally. And he is intelligent. He is using his buddhi for treating this, and he is courageous. In fact, this Dhira requires both intelligence and courage. Because you need courage, isn't it? To face Dukha and say that I am not affected. To say that you need dhairya. So, samadukha sukham dhiram somrtatva yakalpate yam hinam vyathayantyete purusham purusharabha samadukha sukham dhiram somrtatva yakalpate. Here, Shankara says, Nityatma Swarupa Darshana Nishtaha Dvandva Sahishnuhu. Why he is fit for Amritattva, he is explaining. Because he is Dvandva Sahishnuhu, he is able to tolerate the pair of opposites, Sukha and Dukha, because he is at ease with those pair of opposites. He is Nitya Atma Swarupa Darshana Nishtaha. Eventually, he will become Nishtha. He will become established in Atma Swarupa Darshana. He will be able to get himself established in the experience of perceiving Atma eternally without any break. Even when living in this body, even that is, he is called Jivan Mukta. That is a concept specially developed by Shankara based on Upanishads. Other scholars before him were not subscribing to the theory of Jivan Mukta. That is, you can be liberated even while living in the body. You don't have to wait for death. People were thinking before that you have to die for moksha. No, even when you are living, you can. That's what he is saying. Nitya Atma Swarupa Darshana Nishta. Now let us look at Subhashita for this. Subhashita says, beautiful, very beautiful way of putting. So some of the Subhashitas are like that. Artharthi yani dukkhani sahate krupano janaha tanye vedi dharmarthi nabhuyo janma bhag bhavet. One who is very much after wealth, artharthi. Some people are never satisfied with wealth. They are always looking for more and more wealth. For that, Kripanaha Janaha, he is a miser. Basically, he is a miser. He is looking for more and more wealth. Yani Dukkhani Sahate. For that, he is prepared to undergo any amount of suffering. There are people around us. Even after retirement, even at the age of 70, 75, they will be engaged in 24-hour schedule. Just because of money, not because of any interest in public seva. Because of money. That's what they are the people whom we are talking. Yani dukkhani sahate. Further, they are prepared to undergo any amount of suffering. Now, what is the point? Point is, tanye yedi dharma arthi, that was artharthi. Now you are talking about dharma arthi. One who is looking for accumulating more and more dharma, more and more punya karma. If you are prepared to undergo the same amount of suffering which that other person is undergoing, na bhuyo janma bhag bhaved, he will not be born again. Look at the contrast. That fellow is, for the sake of wealth, he is prepared to undergo any amount of suffering. And if you, as a dharmarthi, looking for more and more dharma, looking for proper adherence to dharma, if you are prepared to undergo the same amount of suffering, that is samadukha sukham dhiram, that is the explanation, then you will not be born again. Na bhuyo janma bhav bhave. नासतो विद्यते भावो न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तस्त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः. For this, it's a very pregnant with meaning. So Shankara goes into a tremendous amount of explanation. Let us also try to understand some of it. Because Atma Vidya is like that. To understand Atma, it's not, we saw that yesterday, Kshurasya Dhara, etc. That is for him who is walking the path of Jnana. So at least to understand the basics, you have to put in some effort. Na asataha vidyate abhavaha. Na asataha vidyate bhavaha. Na abhavaha vidyate sataha. Again, double negatives are being used. For asat, there is no existence. Na bhavaha vidyate. Let us understand that. Asataha, for asat, na bhavaha vidyate. There is no existence possible for asat. We will understand what is asat later. Na abhavaha vidyate sataha, the opposite of that. For that which is sat, there is no non-existence. That means Sat always exists. Asat never exists. That's a simple meaning. He is using double negative to emphasize that. Now, what is Asat and what is Sat? Asat is Anatma. Sat is Atma. That is the understanding. Sat is Atma. Anything other than Atma is Anatma. That is why the term Anatma is used. Because if you start using the other terms like a body, like this, like that, then there are 1 crore of things around us. All of them are anatma. Now, we cannot give a list of 1 crore of things. So, it is easy to classify that which is not atma is anatma. That means that which is not going to exist at all times. What is the definition of anatma? What is the definition of atma? Atma exists at all times. Nitya. Anatma will not exist. If it was existing yesterday, it will not exist tomorrow. That is, and if it is existing in one place, it will not exist in another place. So Kaladesha Vibhaga is the basic characteristic of Anatma. Whereas Kaladesha Aparichinnata, not bothered, not divided by Kala and Desha, is the characteristic of Atma. So once we understand that, then we understand Sat and Asat. In fact, the very term Sat means existing. Asat means not existing. That's the direct meaning. Why? Because it exists, it doesn't exist all the time, so it is Asat. It exists all the time, so it is Sat. Sat is Chit Ananda, isn't it? That is Paramatma. So that first term is Sat, ever existing. So he is taking that aspect. He is taking the aspect of Sat. He says Sat never ceases to exist. Asat never exists. Ubhayorapi drishtontastvanayos Now, how to understand this? Go to a tattvadarshi. Tattvadarshi means one who has seen tattva. Tattva means reality, truth. One who has seen the truth, one who has experienced the truth. Those people, she is using plural, there are many of them. Tattvadarshibhi anayoho antaha, ubhayorapi anayoho antaha, ubhayoho api, the two which I have mentioned, Sat and Asat, Antaha means the final point. That is, what is the final point of Asat? What is the final point of Sat? Final means you have reached the conclusive understanding. That is what he is calling Antaha. He is using terms very subtly. Anta does not mean end in the normal sense. Something is ending, something is closing, not that sense. Anta means conclusive position. So the two, that is Sat and Asat, the conclusive position is seen, drishtaha. By whom? Tattvadarshi bihi. So if you go to a Tattvadarshi, he will be able to, if you get a doubt, he will be able to explain. Now, Shankara being a Tattvadarshi, he is explaining it in great detail. So let us try to understand at least some of it. Now, what is Sat and Asat? Atma is Sat and body is Asat. Now let us understand our body first. Let us not understand the table and chair and other people around us. That will come later. We have to understand ourselves first, isn't it? So the body, including the mind, is always changing. And the mind which you possessed in your last Janma is not the same today. Maybe last Janma you were an animal. Next Janma you may become a Deva, who knows? So the body and mind keep changing. That is Asat. And Atma is Sat. So we have to understand that. Now, this Asat looks very real. That is the problem. Asat looks very real, and Sat does not look real. That Sat is reality. Asat is unreal. That is what Shastra says. But it is very difficult for us to understand. For us to understand, there are lots of examples given in Vedanta, and he is quoting some of them here. Like a serpent in a post. In a post, you recognize a serpent because there is lack of light, there is darkness. When light is brought, you understand, no, there was no serpent, there was only a post. Similarly, water in a mirage. From a distance, in a desert, you think there is water. When you go near, there is no water. Silver in a shell, in a seashell, from a distance, it is shining like a beautiful silver. When you go near, you find it is shell. Same with Asat and Sat. You thought it is something, but it is something else. So what you are thinking as body, what you are thinking as mind, they are all jada. They are all inert. They become ready for activity only because of Atma, only because of Chaitanya. That you must understand. For this, he is giving another lot of technical arguments he is bringing here. Because there are opponents, isn't it? For everything, there is an opponent. Purvamimamsa and other Shastrakara, there are opponents. They will not easily accept this. Because once they accept this, then Advaita has to be accepted. There are opponents of Advaita, so they bring forth a lot of arguments, and those arguments he is now demolishing one by one. Now, one example he is giving for demolishing that argument is he is saying Ghata is Asat, the pot is Asat, the clay which out of which it was made, it is Sat. Understand this in this context. Later on, he will say that is also Asat. That we will go to next stage. Present state. We are seeing a pot. Pot is Asat. The clay out of which it was made is Sat. Okay. Now, when you go to the clay maker, pot maker, clay is also Asat and pot maker is Sat. Similarly, if you go on extending this argument, because clay has been brought out from some source, that source is Sat and clay is Asat. So similarly, if you extend this argument, this entire world is Asat because it has been created by somebody. That creator is Sat, isn't it? Just as the pot was real, but it became asat once we know that it is made of clay. So the knowledge that it is made of clay helped us in understanding that it is asat. Similarly, the knowledge that this world, including our body, is asat. It has been created only to be destroyed. On that there is no doubt. That is repeatedly mentioned in all our shastras, isn't it? All this world, including our body, is meant for destruction. It's not today, tomorrow. So this is naturally, by definition, Asat. So who is Sat then? The Creator, Paramatma. He is never changing, whereas the world is ever changing. This is a major argument. Second is that what is Tattva? Tattva Darshibihi, he says. Tat, Tat is Brahman. He is giving the detailed meaning of that. Tat always refers to Brahman. Tat Tvam Ati. Tat Tvam Ati. That Brahman you are. So Tat Tad is real nature of Brahman. So Tattva is Tad real nature of Brahman. So Tattva is one who has seen the real nature. That is the meaning he is giving. Nasato vidyate bhavo, abhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayorapi drishtontastvanayo tattvadarshibhihi. Avinashit tadvidhi, yena sarvamidam tatam, vinasham abhyajasyasya, kaschit kartumarhati. Now, he is explaining that Sat, that Atma, further. Tat, that Atma, that Brahma, just now we said, na, Tat always refers to Paramatma. Vidhi, understand as Avinashi, it never gets destroyed. Yena sarvamidam tatam, by that Atma is pervaded. Tatam means pervaded. Idam sarvam, all this which you see around you, all this world is pervaded by that Atma. Remember that. It is not as if this is a very important point in our Shastra. It is not that Paramatma created this earth as a Jada product and left it and he went away somewhere. No. He created this Jada product and he entered into that so that it remains Chaitana always. Everything has got Chaitanya. Even Jada Vastu, like a rock, has got Chaitanya which is dormant. A tree, of course, we can see it is having Chaitanya. A rock, we are not able to see. But Shastra does not accept there is anything Jada here. Everything is, Jada is only relative. As opposed to moving objects, we think Jada is a non-moving object. Once upon a time, mountains had wings and they were moving here and there. Shastra says that Devendra found that this moving mountain created a lot of trouble because they go and used to sit anywhere and then kill a lot of human beings. So Devendra became angry. He went and cut all those wings. This is mentioned even in Ramayana. So this moving, non-moving is only relative. So this concept must be clearly understood that even what we consider as a Jada product has got a dormant Chaitanya. So everything has got Chaitanya. It may be dormant, it may be expressed to a small percentage, it may be expressed to a very high percentage. In a Jnani, it is 100%. In ordinary human beings, well, it is there, but we don't want to understand it. In other animals, they simply don't know anything about this. So, is it that? But does it mean that animal does not have Paramatma Surupa? Yes, it has. Ena sarvam idam tatam. We must understand it. Because later on he is going to talk about Samadarshana. You have to look at everything with equal eyes. So that you will be able to do only when you understand this concept that there is nothing in this world, in this creation, which is not Paramatma. Ena sarvamidam tatam. And that tat is avinashi. That is not going to. But whatever you see, all these rocks and all these animals, all these human bodies, they will not be there. Vinasham avyajasyasya nakachit kartumarhati avyayaha. Not only it is not dying, vinasha, it is also not changing. There is no change, there is no death. I mean, avyaya means there is no change. For this unchanging Atma, Vinashaha Kashchit na kartum arhati, to effect destruction of this unchanging Atma, nobody is born. Na kashchit kartum arhati, nobody can do this. It is not in the power of anyone to destroy this Atma, because that is basic definition of Atma. How can anyone? Because Atma hi Brahma, like Shankara is explaining. Whatever we call as Brahma Tattva in Upanishad, that is Atma. There is no difference. Why we are using the term Atma? Because Atma is connected with the body by definition in Upanishads. That is why we use the term Paramatma for all-pervading Atma. But when you say Atma, normally, it refers to somebody who is residing in the body and guiding us, helping us. But actually, there is no such person. That person is existing everywhere. Like the Ghatakasha and Mahakasha example we saw, that space inside the pot and outside the pot, there is no difference. Similarly, it is pervading everywhere. That is why he is saying Atma hi Brahma. And something which is having parts can only be destroyed. Shankara is beautifully bringing out this point because Avinashi, something which has got parts. Now our human body has got thousands of parts, isn't it? Everything has got a lot of parts. A tree has got thousand parts. Something which has got parts can be destroyed. Something which has no parts, impar type, you cannot say it has a part because it is one whole thing that it cannot be destroyed. Then avyaya. Avyaya means unchanging. Now wealth will keep, he is giving this example. Wealth is going to increase, decrease, isn't it? So this is not something. Vyaya is always connected with expenditure. That's why he is giving this example. Vyaya is expenditure. So this cannot get expended, like wealth will get expended. So there is no change. अविनाशिति तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशम् अव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति अन्तवन्त इमे देहा नित्यस्योक्ताः शरीरिणः अनाशिनो अप्रमेयस्य तस्मात् युध्यस्व भारत Antavanta ime dehaha. Same concept is being repeatedly brought out to make it very clear. Because that clarity has to come to Arjuna, then only he will take up his bow and start fighting, isn't it? So that is important. He is in a battlefield. There is no time now to waste. So that is why he is giving this detailed presentation. Antavanta ime dehaha. All these bodies, your body, my body, and all these bodies which you are seeing in front of you, they all are going to end. It is not as if they will exist eternally. That you understand. Then who is eternal? Shariri. Sharira is not eternal. Shariri, the Atma inside the body. That is why he is using the term Atma and Shariri, because we are always associating ourselves with our body, isn't it? Our body consciousness is the greatest. So one has to get rid of that. So he is bringing this point. For the Sharirinaha, for the plural, for the Atmas residing in the various bodies, Nityasya uktaha ime dehaha, Nityasya Sharirinaha. Those that Atma is eternal, but these bodies are not eternal. Understand that. Atma is eternal, bodies are not eternal. Anachino aprameyasya. That Shariri he is giving further adjectives. One adjective was Nitya, eternal in time. It will not change with time. Then Anashinaha, it can never be destroyed. Okay, it has been eternal so far. Will it be destroyed tomorrow? No. Anashinaha, it cannot be destroyed and it cannot be changed. Anashinaha also includes change. No change in properties. Aprameyasya, can we measure it by some means? Can we say it weighs so many kg? Can we say it looks beautiful? Can we attribute any quality of this kind? No, you cannot. Aprameyata means immeasurable. You cannot measure it with the known measures which your sense organs are capable of. Because only with sense organs we are using measures, isn't it? For somebody's height, we use the scale and we use our eyes. For somebody's good quality music, we use our ears. Oh, he is a very good musician. So all these sense organs are used to measure a certain quality. Now these sense organs are useless when it comes to Atma. So aprameyasya, not measurable by perception or any other means of cognition. It is the definition given by Shankara. And he is saying further, because this Atma is eternal, this Atma is unchanging, this Atma is immeasurable. Okay, you are saying, na? It is eternal, it cannot be, it does not undergo change. At least, can I recognize it in some form? We will ask the question, isn't it? Anybody will ask, any million person ask. So he is answering that question by saying, Aprameyasya. No, you cannot recognize it. It is not recognizable with your sense organ. Then what is the proof that it exists? Veda is the proof. Shankara says clearly here. What is because some objection will come, huh? If it is not measurable, if you are giving all these qualities, who is saying all this? Veda is saying, Upanishads are saying, so you have to go by that. Tasmat, because of this reason, hey Bharata, Yudhyasva, take up your bow and fight. Now, again, there are objections by people because there is no end of objections. So, that means Krishna is goading Arjuna to fight. He is engaging him in ahimsa. He is engaging him in himsa. He is not a proponent of ahimsa. So that objection will come. So Shankara is at pains to explain, Arey, Yudhyasva, don't take it at a face value. Because he is in a battlefield, because Arjuna is going to fight, he is saying fight. It doesn't mean that he is asking all of us to fight. All of us to engage in karma which he is calling us, our calling, our destination, our karma, our varnashrama dharma. That is, you perform that properly. That is the meaning of Yudhyasva, not an instruction to fight for everyone. So the point is, again, Shokamoha is coming here in Shankara's explanation. He says, you get rid of your Shoka and Moha and start fighting. That is it. That is why he says, Tasmat, because of that reason. Because of the reason I have given between Atma and Sharira, the difference, you understand that. You get rid of your Shoka and Moha, start fighting. Same thing applies to us. Instead of fighting, you do your duty without Shoka and Moha. Without Shoka and Moha, without grief and delusion, you perform your duty which anyway you were going to do earlier, which all of us are destined to do. Now, when it comes to Atma, when he said Veda is the proof, Atma Swatassiddha, Atma does not need any proofs. That's what Veda says. It shows itself as self-existing, something which exists. We don't question our body. Do we say, I don't exist? Does anybody say? Because we associate ourselves with body. Similarly, you should associate yourself with Atma. You are associating with a wrong thing. Associate yourself with the right thing. Because without Atma, your body is dysfunctional. Now let us take, he is quoting Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in this context. I'm not using the quotation, but he is quoting that to say the Atma Satat Siddha. Now I will go to Subhashitam. There is a Subhashitam which explains this very nicely, that the Atma and Sharira distinction. It's a very common thing in Vedanta. So there are a lot of Subhashitas for that. I have taken up one. आयुं क्षणिकानि यौवनमपि प्रायोदराध्यासितं संयोगा विरहावसान विरसा भोगाः क्षणध्वंसिनः आयुं क्षणिकानि the life of a person lasts only for a kshana yauvanamapi prayaha youth also very short jaradhyasitam when you are going through youth you know that old age is coming and hitting you. Samyoga, Viraha, Vasana, Virasa. Whenever two people meet, you know they are going to get separated. Don't you know? You know that. It has to end in separation. All joining together has to end in separation. Bhogaha, Kshanadvamsanaha, all enjoyments are going to stop immediately. No enjoyment is going to persist eternally. Ganantopi, all this is known to everyone. That is the beauty. Ganantopi, yatha vyavasthitamidam lokas samastam jagat. All these lokas, all these worlds are governed by this rule. Not only your body, not only people around you. All this world is governed by this rule that they will not remain eternally in the same quality also. Not only they don't remain eternally in time, in quality also. The world of yesterday is different from world of today. Body of yesterday is different from body of today. All of us understand that. So he says, Yatha vyavasthit amidam loka samastam jagat. It applies to entire universe. Chitram yad guru garva bhavira buddhyanti mahadyanti cha. This is the beauty. Chitram, this is wonderful. This is something strange. What is strange? Guru Garva Bhavita Dhiyaha, Guru Garva, abundant arrogance. This person thinks he is going to remain eternally, he is going to remain with the same quality. No, though he knows all around him, he knows that there is nothing eternal, there is nothing of the same quality. But he arrogates to himself that he will remain eternally and he will remain with the same quality. Guru Garva Bhavita Deha, intellect affected by Guru Garva. Guru Garva Guru means something very large, very big. Guru Garva. So with that Garva, Bhavita Dhiyaha, what do they do? Krudhyanti, Madhyanti cha. They get angry, they get intoxicated. Intoxication and anger. The Subhashita brings out these two aspects of human life. You get intoxicated because you think you are living eternally and this quality will continue. You get angry because somebody has stopped you on your track. What is your track? The track is ever changing track. Why are you getting angry? So, krudhyanti madhyanti cha. अन्तवन्तयमे देहा नित्यस्योक्ता शरीरिणः अनाशिनो अप्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत. We stop for today. We continue next Saturday at 7:30 PM IST with the same study. We will continue with these shlokas. Any questions?
If anyone has any questions.
Yes, Guruji. One question. Are parts of Atma in various bodies, is that considered parts or is it whole?
Which one? Which is considered?
You said like human beings are all having Atmas, their own Atmas. Is that considered parts?
No. This is only to distinguish the body from the Atma. See, everything has got a context. Don't take it out of the context. Then understanding will become difficult. Atma does not have any part. There's one explanation for not getting destroyed. If you don't like this explanation, you don't have to understand this explanation. You simply understand Atma will not get destroyed, whereas body will get destroyed. Shankara is giving a reason. Body has got hundreds of parts. Anything which has got parts is bound to get destroyed. Atma does not have parts, so it will not get destroyed. So this is an intellectual approach. If you don't want to use that approach, you don't have.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question?
Namaskaram, Mama. So when we say now in this Yuddha, Arjuna is with his bow and arrow, he's trying to kill from the Kauravas. What exactly is being done when he's killing? What exactly is done in terms of now the explanation you have given, Atma and body? What exactly is being destroyed there?
Body is getting destroyed. Atma is not getting destroyed. That is what he is trying to say. The Atma of Drona will continue in another body. It's not going to go away anywhere. Atma of Bhishma will continue in another body. In fact, Bhishma is going to become a Vasu. He came from the status of a Vasu because of a curse. He came to earth. Now he will go back his position as Vasu. Similarly, Drona will go to some other body. So body they will take up. That he said earlier. Dehantara prapti. So don't worry about that. You destroy that body. That body is meant for destruction. It is going to get destroyed at your hands. That is what is written. That is the meaning.
So the adharma that's done by that body because of which they are being punished, what happens to that adharma quality? It is destroyed with the body?
No. Adharma will never get destroyed with the body. Some part of it will go away because of the death. Because of the untimely death, or because of the, I will not say untimely, because of the cruel way in which the body is going to go away. Because it's not natural death, isn't it? Unnatural, not untimely, unnatural. Because of the unnatural death, some adharma part will die away, no doubt. How much of it will die away, how much you will carry forward is all matter of subtle discussion.
Yeah, dhanyavad.
Any other questions? I don't think we have.
Namaskaram. As Guruji, you said intelligent people see happy and sad in the same way. My basic question is, how maybe I can be intelligent, or how in this world we can be face everything or anything in the same way.
By study of this Shastra, Gita Shastra, by study of Vedanta, your conviction will keep on improving. Then whenever any sukha and dukkha comes to you, you will remember, Hare, Bhagavan has said this, Gita Shastra says this, Vedanta says this. So we should not get swayed by this sukha and dukkha. You have to teach yourself. This is abhyasa. He is going to come to that later on. Practice. You have to practice. There is nothing which will come to you on a platter. Bhagavan is himself going to say that. Because he is asking, Arjuna is asking, Hare, same question which you are asking, Arjuna is going to ask. So there he is saying, Abhyasena vairagyena. You must practice vairagya. He is going to say that. So you wait for that. Okay, I think no more questions. We close for the day. Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadeva Sarvatra Govinda Nama Sankirtanam Govinda Govinda Mahatripura Sundarye.
Thank you everyone for joining. Hara Hara Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara. We'll meet again next Saturday.